Hi everyone, yeah, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is 401 Luxuries. Thanks for always coming back. Thanks for checking on me. And today we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this overlap or wrap top. Okay, I'll emphasize on the upper part most because that is what the message is all about. So guys, if this looks like what you are interested in, kindly watch to the end. Thank you. So now we are going to be starting with the back pattern, then we are going to use it for the front pattern as well. So I have already drawn the shoulder line, bust point and the waist, as you can see. And now let's divide the shoulder by 2. Okay, we are just going to be drafting a basic bodice. I guess we know how to do that. That is my shoulder slope 1 inch from the shoulder measurement. And for the neckline, I'm going to be using 3 inches wide, just like we do for our normal basic bodice, and 1.5 inches for the depth. And I'm going to connect to give a round neckline. Okay, if you can't draft a basic bodice, you can simply check the description box. The link is there. So the line I just draw now is the shoulder slope. Now from the shoulder slope, I'm going to connect to the chest line, and to get the chest line, divide your bust by 6 plus 1.5. That is what gives you the the chest line measurements. So I'll just mark it. So the measurement I'm using for this is about 7 inch. Okay, then from that shoulder slope, you connect down to the chest line with a straight line, and that is your armhole line. That is what I call it. So this is where we are going to determine our armhole curve. So on this line now, you divide whatever you have there into 2 equal half. You can simply fold your tape like this, and you mark the midpoint. So from that midpoint, you come in by 0.5. You will still connect it, but you have to take 0.5 inward first. Then you connect from the tip of the shoulder slope down like so. Then you will mark or measure your bust divided by 4 on the chest line. Mine is 8.5, I guess. Let me just calculate it. So I'm using 34 divided by 4. I have 8.5. Okay, so on the chest line, you take your bust measurement divided by 4, then you mark. So this is where you connect the curve to. So then you get your armhole curve like that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now is to get the dart. So for the waist dart now, you're going to be dividing your bust span by 2. For this measurement, I'm using 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Then you connect from the bust point down to the waist. This is a back pattern. You don't really need a bust point, but it's just like a guide for you when you are marking or when you want to mark where your dart will get to. So on the dart line now, you take 0.5 on both sides for the dart legs, and you connect like so. So if you can't draft a basic bodice, check the description box. I have the link there. Okay, so that's all for the bust. For the waist dart. So on the chest line now, you take your bust measurements plus your seam allowance. I'm using 1.5. Then you do the same thing on the waistline, but do not forget. So for the waistline now, I'm using 25 inches for the waist measurement divided by 4. I have 6.25 plus 1 inch dart intake. That's 7.25, and plus 1 inch for my seam allowance. Okay, then I'll connect from there to the bust point. To the chest line where I have the bust measurements. Okay guys, this will be all for the back. Like I've said before, the bust point line is just there to guide you. You don't need bust point line at the back. It is only useful on the front parts. Okay, I mean the front bodice. That is where you need it. So here you can simply label it. If you have your seam allowance on the pattern already, you write it. If you don't have it there, you will write it. Do you understand? You write it in a way that you would understand what you are saying. So now I'll just cut this out, then we'll move to the front pattern. As for the front, you can go ahead and draft on fold a new pattern, or you duplicate your back pattern to the front. Do we understand? So now there is no need of cutting out the neckline. Just mark the shoulder area like so, because you're having a new neckline design at that area. Do you understand? So from the top now, you measure down to the chest line. I'm just doing this again to confirm, in case of people that will not be drafting it all over again. So, and from the waistline you come up by 3.5 inches. It can be 4 inches, it can be 3 inches. It depends on you, how low you want it to be. Okay, so the next thing you want to do now is connect from the shoulder to the midpoint and back to the 3.5 inches you mark earlier. Okay, so you can just place your pattern on it just to confirm the shoulder area. Okay, so that you don't make one shorter than the other. Okay, you connect from here on the shoulder like so. You connect to this midpoint and then back to that 3.5 you measured earlier. Okay, so you can simply measure all your pattern like so to confirm again. I have 20 inches, 21 inches rather, then that is 10.5, and it's still on the same point I marked earlier. It is because the pattern is on fold already, so it makes it easier for me to know. So now I'll connect. You can either connect with your curve rule like so, if you want if you want a slight curve shape, or you connect with a straight ruler like this. It can either be a straight line or it's a little bit curve. Okay, just place it from here down. You can also do it like that, ignoring the midpoints, but in this method the midpoints does not really matter. Okay, and you can also make use of a curve rule, just like I'm going to do now. This depends on how you want it to be. Me, I want a slight curve around that place. And when you are using your curve rule, you need to be very careful with the placement of your curve so you don't ruin the shape, because you sometimes when you are not careful, you might have a lower chest line, and you don't want to reveal your chest line, especially when you're making it for a client. So this is what I have at the end, and as you can see, I'm very sure this is not too low for me. Okay, so now we'll be needing this side, and we'll be cutting it into two. Okay, we'll be cutting into two for the both side, and we'll be taking our darts. Do you understand? So this other part is not useful. So the next thing I want to do now is to cut out this on this middle line. Then we'll be cutting on fabric. Do we understand? So now just watch closely the way I'm cutting it. This upper part here, we are not going to be needing it. We are just going to cut it off like so. So now this is what we have at the end. This is what it's going to look like. Do you see? And you'll be cutting two of this, but make sure that when you are placing this, you're placing the right side together. Do you understand? So that you won't have same side on, by the time you finish cutting, you have same side. So this dart now, the one on top, we have one dart. The one that will be under, we have the other darts. You're not going to be having the two darts on one. Okay, so the next thing now is to transfer to the fabric. Just like you see now, the back pattern, I added zipper allowance. I want the zip to be there because I have a flared. It is not actually a wrap top, so I need a zipper to make it easier for me to wear. Then the front part I cut out too. As you can see, I will be placing it on each other. By the time I'm done, I'll show us. Then I added 0.5 seam allowance, except for the side. We already have our allowance. Remember, we use the back pattern to cut the front pattern. Then you will mark and notch the center that you mark earlier. Do not forget. You can simply go back to the video to confirm. So that place is where you'll be placing the two parts. That will be like a center line. So now I already cut out the lining as well for the both side. Then I also cut for the back pattern too. Okay, by the time you place it on each other, this line that I notched the other side is going to be on the second one too, and that will be like a midpoint. Do you see what I'm saying the other time? So with this, you have two equal parts. one will not be longer than each other, and you will have equality. That's just it, let me put it that way, so you have accurate neckline. So this is the lining. I'm going to join the lining together with the fabric. I'll turn it around, okay, and I'll do the same thing for the back as well. I already pressed the lining very well. You can add your interface or stay. So this is what I have at the end. As you can see, this is what I'm saying. So our front is ready like so. By the time you are placing it on each other, you can decide on which side you want to, decide on how you want to place it. So that midpoint, you can simply measure it. In case by the time you turn it with the lining, the chalk or the notching would have gone. So by measuring it, you'll be able to remember that this is the place you are going to be putting together. So for the back, I already took the darts, as you can see. Then what I'll be doing now is to close the zipper allowance area, and already turn it with the lining. So after closing the zipper allowance area, I'll place both front and the back together just like this, as you can see. Okay, then I'll take the side measurement, but before that I need to take the shoulder measurements. That is, I'll join the shoulder together before joining the two sides. Okay, so I'll just do that and come back to show us how it looks like. But before that, I said it's a dress, and I already have a flare that I've cut. I use the circumference, the waist circumference, to cut the flare, and I added a little bit of allowance because I want to have a kind of little pleats around there. Okay, so for you to get the length of the flare, you need to subtract the length of your upper bodice from the full length, from the full gown length. So mine is 15 minus 38. I have 19 inches left minus seam allowance. So that's just how you will get it. And after that, now I will join the all close together and show us how it look like. So guys, this is what I have at the end. I already joined the shoulder, as you can see, and I already take my body measurements. So what I'm doing now is joining the flare to the lower part to the upper part, and as you can see, I have some excess. I'm going to pleat the excess to the upper part to form a kind of pleat, just to get a little bit of fullness. That's just it, nothing much actually. So after which I've done this, I'll just pin it down, sew it, and show us. Okay, so to pin it down, I already pinned the center. You start by pinning the center and the side seam, and whatever you have left, you will pleat it towards wherever you want it to be. Do you understand? Either forward, backward, kiss pleats, gather. You can even make it gathers depending on the amount of excess you have left. But for me, I don't have much excess. I'm just going to have about 4 pleats altogether. So guys, I'll just take this to the sewing machine and come back to show us how it looks like before we now proceed to cut the sleeve. So before that, you have to cut a rope and fix to the side. You can make it detachable, or you can just join it together to the dress. This will depend on how much fabric you have. So you cut as long rope as you decide and join to which of the sides. You can sew it to the front, so you can tie it at the front, at the back, by the sides. This depends on you. Now to the sleeve. Now I'll be making use of this basic sleeve pattern. I have the link below, so you just check it out on how to cut a basic sleeve. So I'll be using a slash and spread method for this because this is all the fabric I have left, and with this method I'll be able to get a little bit fullness at the hem line. So this will help me create a puff sleeve. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I'll be slashing in between this pattern paper. That is, I'll be cutting in the middle. Okay, it can be as many slashing as you want. Okay, but this fabric is not much and I don't want it to be too wide. Instead of me to have just a basic sleeve, I want to add a little bit of just to add something to it. Okay, so I'm just going to slash. I'm not going to slash through because I don't want the shoulder to be much than that. I don't want any excess on the shoulder parts. Okay, so I'll just slash a little bit so that I can have a wider, wider effect. I can be able to spread it. So I'll just spread all through this fabric because I want to make it of everything. Okay, and after this, now I'll use the chalk to trace it out. Okay, so let's assume you want to slash more than this. You have to slash through as many lines as possible, then you use your chalk to trace it out, just like I'm doing. Let's assume this upper part is, I slashed the upper part too. I will not be tracing exactly this part, but this is all I want to be. So I'll just trace out every part of this pattern paper. So at the end, I'll be having the hemline will be white, the shoulder will remain the same because I don't want to have a pleat on the shoulder line at all. This is exactly my shoulder measurements, just like the method I use in cutting it. So as you can see, I'm done tracing out and I'm just going to cut out this pattern. Okay, at this hemline I'm going to have a ruffle, or let me say, yes, a ruffle sleeve actually, because I'm going to be using an elastic band to gather that part. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for watching this video to this moment. I really appreciate you guys. I love you so much. So if you are yet to subscribe, click on the subscribe button now and turn on the notification bell. It's important. I have loads of videos for us, trust me, and you don't want to miss any of it. Now I'm going to cut out through all the lines that I drew. Okay, so, and if you have any question, any comments, any video request, kindly drop in the comment section. I'll be with you. I'll be there to read it all and then to welcome them. Thank you very much. So now I'll just cut out this part. Let's assume I want to add to this upper part. I would not cut out exactly. I'll just add a little bit of inches to it, but I want exactly what I trace out. So guys, this is all about the sleeve area. So now, after which I had cut it like this, I'll join it to the bodice and then I'll use elastic on the hemline. So to get the elastic that you're going to use, you would have to measure your wrists, whatever you have, plus 1 inch, okay, or 1.5 if you don't want it to be too tight, so that if you want to adjust up to your elbow, you will be able to adjust it. And if you want to leave it on your wrist line, okay, that is fine. So the elastic depends on how tight you want the hem area to be. Okay, so guys, this will be all. Now I'm just going to take it to sewing machine and fold in about 1 inch. I'll just fold in a space that can accommodate the kind of elastic band I'm using. If you are using elastic band of 0.5 inches wide, you can fold 1 inch, and if you want to use 1 inch, fold up to that. So if you want more, you can slash like this all through. You can make it up to 4, 5, 6 depending on how wide or how enough fabric you have. So guys, this is what I have, and as you can see, you can decide to leave it like this so it looks like a bell sleeve, but it's not really, it doesn't look like a bell sleeve. So now I just had to manage the fabric because I really want a long sleeve and I don't want a simple basic sleeve, so I just had to spice it up. So then you mark the front and the back. Remember, by the time you watch the basic sleeve video, you will understand what I'm saying, because our front and back is quite different. Do you know that? Or now I'm telling you. Okay guys, now I'll take it to the sewing machine and join every of my fabric together. Oh sorry, I'll join it to my dress and I'll put it on a mannequin for us to see, because right now I'm not in a mood to put on any clothes. So finally, this is what we have. This is it without the rope. I already told you can make it detachable. That is, you can tie the rope whenever you feel like. Sorry, don't mind me, I don't know how to tie a rope. And as you can see for the sleeve, you see it's not too straight and it's not too puffy, but yet it's still a puff sleeve. Okay, so thank you very much guys for watching till this moment. Once again, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Click on the subscribe button, click on the bell beside it, and you'll be notified whenever I drop any video. Even if you see any style you feel or you want me to, do a tutorial on it, kindly drop in the comment section. So till we meet next time, bye bye and take care. Love you.